For more than 2 decades, Britney Spears has lived a life unlike any other. One filled with unimaginable fame, unrelenting pressure, and heartbreaking struggles behind the glittering lights of Hollywood. To millions, she was the princess of pop, the young girl from Louisiana who captured the world's heart with her voice, her dancing, and her unforgettable stage presence. But to those who looked closer, Britney's life told a far darker story, one of control, exploitation, and a fight for freedom that would shake the entire entertainment industry. Now, new details have emerged, details that paint an even more devastating picture of Britney's life behind closed doors. From the shocking realities of her years-long conservatorship to the private battles she fought with her family, friends, and the very system meant to protect her, these revelations are enough to make even her most loyal fans stop in disbelief. How much of Britney's life was truly her own? How deep did the control and manipulation go? And why is it that even now, after supposedly regaining her freedom, the struggles for Britney Spears are far from over? This is not just the story of a pop star. It's the story of a woman who was denied her voice, her choices, and her independence for far too long. As we dive into the devastating new details about Britney Spears, one thing becomes heartbreakingly clear. The cost of fame can be far greater than the fortune and applause it brings. When Britney Spears first burst onto the music scene in the late 1990s, she was more than just a rising pop star. She was a cultural phenomenon. With the release of Baby One More Time in 1999, the world instantly knew her name. The single topped charts globally, selling millions of copies and establishing Britney as the face of a new generation in pop music. For a teenager from Kentwood, Louisiana, the leap from small-town girl to international superstar was dizzying, and it came with a price she could never have anticipated. In those early days, Britney's image was carefully crafted. The innocent schoolgirl look paired with undeniable stage presence made her a household name overnight. Magazine covers, sold-out tours, endorsements, and fan hysteria followed her everywhere. To the public, Britney represented youth, beauty, and talent wrapped in one unstoppable package. But behind that polished exterior, the machine of fame had already begun to take control of her life. Every outfit, every word in an interview, and every step she took in public was scrutinized and analyzed. There was no room for mistakes, no margin for being human. As her career soared, the pressure intensified. She was only 18 when she was thrust into a world where multi-million-dollar contracts and global expectations rested on her shoulders. The tabloids made her personal life a spectacle. Her relationships, her family, even her body were dissected endlessly. Britney's every move sold papers and generated clicks, turning her into one of the most pursued celebrities on the planet. But that level of exposure came with crushing consequences. The entertainment industry had created a money-making machine in Britney Spears, but it failed to protect the person behind the image. As early as her second album, Oops, I Did It Again, there were signs that Britney was being stretched to her limits. Grueling schedules, relentless media intrusion, and little to no privacy began to take their toll. Friends and insiders later admitted that Britney rarely had a moment to herself. Decisions about her career, image, and even personal choices were often made by executives and handlers rather than Britney herself. The public only saw the glittering performances, but the truth was darker. Britney was expected to constantly maintain a perfect image while juggling the reality of being a young woman in her 20s trying to find her identity. Every mistake she made was magnified and mocked. From her high-profile breakup with Justin Timberlake to the relentless speculation about her mental health, Britney quickly became the media's favorite target. Instead of compassion, she received ridicule. Instead of empathy, she was exploited for headlines. By the mid-2000s, the cracks in Britney's carefully constructed world began to show. Paparazzi chased her day and night, often provoking her for reactions. The infamous head-shaving incident of 2007 became a global spectacle, with tabloids framing it as a meltdown rather than a desperate act of someone pleading for control of her own life. What few realized at the time was that this moment symbolized years of pent-up frustration at being managed, judged, and treated as property rather than a person. Her struggles during this period paved the way for one of the most controversial arrangements in modern entertainment history: the conservatorship. What was meant to be a temporary solution to protect Britney would instead become a long and devastating chapter of control, secrecy, and heartbreak. In hindsight, Britney's rise to fame wasn't just about music. It was about how a young woman was thrust into a system that profited from her every move, while simultaneously stripping her of autonomy. The stage lights may have shone brightly, but behind them was a young star already beginning to lose herself in the shadows. By 2008, Britney Spears' struggles had become the centerpiece of every tabloid in the world. The pressure of fame, combined with her personal battles and relentless paparazzi harassment, culminated in public breakdowns that shocked fans everywhere. It was during this vulnerable time that the courts placed Britney under a conservatorship, an arrangement that was supposed to last only temporarily, but instead endured for nearly 14 years. This conservatorship, controlled primarily by her father, Jamie Spears, would dictate nearly every aspect of her personal and professional life, leading to one of the most devastating chapters in pop culture history. At first, the conservatorship was portrayed as a necessary step to protect Britney from self-destruction. The official narrative suggested that she was incapable of managing her finances, health, or career, and that her family was stepping in to help. But as time went on, disturbing details began to surface. Instead of being given the tools to recover, Britney was placed under what many describe as a financial and emotional cage. She could perform on stage, headline Las Vegas residencies, and earn millions of dollars. But she couldn't drive her own car, control her own money, or even make decisions about her body without approval. Insiders began to reveal the shocking extent of the control. Reports suggested Britney was monitored in her own home, with her phone calls and communications heavily restricted. She was allegedly forced into medical treatments and prescribed medications without her full consent. One of the most heartbreaking revelations came when Britney herself testified in court, claiming she was not even allowed to remove an IUD to have more children, a decision no one should ever have taken from her. Her family's role in all of this sparked outrage. While Jamie Spears argued that everything was done in Britney's best interest, critics pointed out how the conservatorship became a lucrative arrangement for those involved. Her father was reported to have taken a significant salary from overseeing her finances, while others profited from her continued work. Fans questioned how Britney could be considered unfit to make her own choices yet fit enough to perform. Grueling world tours and residencies. The conservatorship also became a legal maze that made it nearly impossible for Britney to break free. For years, her pleas for independence went unheard or were dismissed by courts. Lawyers were assigned to her without her approval, and decisions about her well-being were left in the hands of people she did not trust. It was a chilling reality. One of the most famous women in the world, earning millions, was essentially stripped of her freedom in full view of the public. The devastating truth of Britney's situation might have remained hidden forever, if not for the rise of the Free Britney movement. Loyal fans who noticed inconsistencies in her public appearances and cryptic social media posts began questioning what was really happening behind the scenes. What started as whispers on fan forums soon turned into a global movement demanding answers. Documentaries like Framing Britney Spears shed light on the darker details, igniting widespread outrage and sympathy for the pop star. Britney's own voice finally broke through in 2021 when she spoke publicly in court about the abusive nature of her conservatorship. Her testimony was raw, emotional, and devastating, confirming the worst fears of her fans. She described the years of control, her lack of freedom, and her desperate desire to simply live like a normal human being again. It was not just a legal arrangement, it was, as she called it, a form of enslavement. The conservatorship, once seen as protection, had become a cage that robbed Britney of her independence, her choices, and her dignity. And though it was finally terminated in late 2021, the scars it left behind would not fade easily. For Britney Spears, those 14 years were more than lost time. They were a devastating reminder of how power and control can destroy even the brightest of stars. After years of public scrutiny, legal battles, and global outcry, Britney Spears finally regained control of her life in late 2021 when her conservatorship was officially terminated. For fans around the world, it felt like a long-awaited victory, a moment of triumph for the pop princess who had endured so much. But the reality of Britney's post-conservatorship life revealed that freedom, while sweet, came with a heavy emotional toll. The damages from over a decade of control and manipulation could not simply vanish overnight. One of the most heartbreaking aspects of Britney's story is her strained relationship with her family, particularly her father, Jamie Spears. While he maintained for years that the conservatorship was necessary to protect her, Britney has repeatedly stated that it was abusive and controlling. Her court testimony and public interviews revealed a complex mix of love, resentment, and betrayal. The father-daughter bond that should have provided support and comfort instead became a source of pain and controversy. The public watched as Britney tried to reconcile her love for her family, with the emotional scars left by years of control, a delicate balancing act that no one should ever have to endure in the public eye. Even after the conservatorship ended, Britney's struggles didn't disappear. Mental health challenges persisted, a natural consequence of years of trauma and public scrutiny. She spoke candidly about the anxiety, depression, and emotional exhaustion she experienced, highlighting that freedom doesn't instantly heal wounds inflicted over more than a decade. Simple choices, like deciding where to live, how to spend her money, or whom to trust, now became her responsibility, a reality she had been denied for years. The sudden flood of autonomy, while liberating, was also overwhelming, leaving Britney in a vulnerable state as she learned to navigate life without legal oversight. Public perception also continued to weigh heavily. While the Free Britney movement and media coverage largely celebrated her victory, the global spotlight remained fixed on her. Every public appearance, social media post, and statement was dissected for signs of her well-being. For someone who had spent years being controlled, watched, and judged, this relentless attention posed a unique challenge. The world wanted to see her happy. But happiness is not a switch, it is a process, and for Britney, the scars of the past were deep and lingering. Moreover, Britney's personal relationships remained under scrutiny. Past romantic partnerships and friendships had been impacted by the conservatorship, leaving gaps that she struggled to fill. Her trust had been broken, and rebuilding it required time, patience, and emotional resilience. The very people she might have leaned on were either absent, distant, or cautious, leaving her to rebuild her life piece by piece. Yet amid the heartbreak, there were glimpses of hope. Britney began reconnecting with music on her own terms, posting videos for fans, and sharing moments of joy from her personal life. Her story, though painful, became a testament to resilience, a reminder that even after profound injustice, survival and recovery are possible. But the lingering devastation of those years remains undeniable, proving that the consequences of exploitation and control can follow someone long after legal freedom is achieved. Britney Spears' journey shows the world that freedom, while necessary, does not erase the trauma of systemic control. Her story is one of courage, but also of heartbreak, a sobering reminder of what she endured, and what it takes to reclaim one's life after it has been stolen. Even after regaining her independence, Britney Spears' story continues to captivate the world, not just as a tale of fame and fortune, but as a cautionary story about control, exploitation, and the fragility of autonomy in the entertainment industry. While the conservatorship ended in late 2021, the aftermath revealed that the scars left behind were deep and long-lasting, and the struggles Britney faced did not end the moment the court declared her free. One of the most striking aspects of Britney's post-conservatorship life has been the continuing examination of her family relationships. She has publicly expressed the pain of losing trust in her father, who was the central figure in the conservatorship. While some fans hoped for reconciliation, Britney's emotional disclosures made it clear that rebuilding those bonds is not simple. Her relationship with other family members has also been complicated, with questions about loyalty, manipulation, and profit lingering long after the conservatorship ended. The public, once eager to celebrate her freedom, began to understand that personal healing would take far longer than any legal victory. Britney has also faced challenges in reclaiming her career and personal life. After years of having nearly every professional decision made for her, she now faces the pressure of managing her brand, finances, and public image independently. The freedom she longed for comes with immense responsibility, and while she has made strides in reconnecting with music and her fans, the path is far from smooth. She must navigate a world that once celebrated her, then judged her relentlessly, now scrutinizing every move as she rebuilds her life. Another devastating revelation has been the psychological impact of years of control and public humiliation. Britney has openly discussed her struggles with anxiety, depression, and the lingering effects of trauma. Being under constant supervision, having her privacy stripped away, and enduring public ridicule left wounds that cannot be healed overnight. The celebrity who once danced effortlessly on stage now faces the reality that healing is a lifelong process, and freedom does not instantly erase the years of damage done. Yet Britney's story has sparked global conversations about rights, autonomy, and the power dynamics in the entertainment industry. Her ordeal has shone a light on conservatorships and guardianships, prompting advocacy for reform and inspiring other individuals who feel trapped in similar circumstances to speak out. The Free Britney movement became more than just a fan campaign. It became a symbol of justice, compassion, and the fight for human rights. Britney's voice, once silenced, is now a rallying cry for change, even as she continues to heal and reclaim her life. Ultimately, Britney Spears' journey is both devastating and inspiring. It is a story of extraordinary talent and unimaginable hardship, of manipulation and resilience, of betrayal and triumph. While the world may continue to scrutinize her every move, what remains undeniable is her strength. Britney's legacy is no longer defined solely by her music, but by her courage to fight for freedom, to reclaim her autonomy, and to survive in the face of overwhelming odds. Her story is a sobering reminder of the cost of fame and the importance of protecting personal freedom, but it is also a testament to the power of resilience and the human spirit.